Right, right. Uh, Hey everyone, my name is Ambuj Sachan. I'm from National University Odisha, the UBA cell in the university, and I'll be dealing with active and passive voice today for the next 5 minutes or something. Really quickly, going to go active and passive voices for class 10th. Scoring in active passive voice or scoring in grammar should be very easy for you, and you can expect full marks there if you work for it. Active passive voices is something very basic. However, there are some fundamentals that need to be cleared up, and hopefully, I'll be able to hit them and explain them to you. Right. Okay. Also, I'm a little under the weather, so I hope that's all right. Yeah. All right. Active and passive voices. I hope you can see my screen. Okay. Basics. Now, there are very fundamental questions that need to ask yourself when you're doing active and passive voices. Simply, लोग active and passive voices use क्यों करते हैं? What is the point? सीधी बात. Active and passive voice sentences mean the same thing. उसमें मीनिंग में कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. But there is a change, a slight change in the emphasis given by the speaker. So take a look at the examples here. A train hit him. Then the other sentence, he was hit by a train. See, the difference between these two sentences is the meaning is the same, but there's a slight change in emphasis. So let's say the person who was hit was a friend of yours. Which sentence would you use? You would clearly use the first sentence. He was hit by a train. And that will be the more emphatic point that you make. He was hit by a train because him being hit is the important, valuable information that you want to tell the other person. You don't want to tell them a train hit him, right? And that's why a slight change in emphasis gets the meaning across as a particular speaker. However, the meaning of the sentence remains the same. And as speakers of English, we want to convey our emotions and our I want to emphasize on certain things. And that is why we use active and passive voices separately. Now, that is the main reason why active and passive voices take place. Now, let's move on to a bit of definitions and basics there and get the sentence structure sorted. So, active voice, just pay close attention to the structure of the sentence. A train hit him. Subject, action of subject, object. In the sentence, which is the subject? The train. What action is the subject doing? Hitting. It's quite obvious. And the object is the poor guy, him who's being hit by the train. The structure of the sentence is very important because once you get structure of the sentence that you want to convert correctly, it's very easy to convert it after that. Usually people make mistake in getting the structure of the sentence and pinning that down. And once they make a mistake there, they're not able to convert the sentence from active to passive or from passive to active. Take a look at the passive voice. He was hit by a train. Now, the object in the last sentence was him, the poor guy being hit. Now he is the subject in this new sentence. And that is why the previous object has become the new subject. The action remains the same, that is of hitting, because we want the meaning to remain the same. And the subject goes to the other side. The train comes to the end. The point of converting active to passive and the simple transformation sentence in structure is that subjects become objects and then objects become subjects. I'm sure you have heard this many, many times. This is what it looks like when it actually happens. The previous object comes to be the subject's place right in front of the sentence. The action remains the same because the meaning has to remain the same. That is followed by, of course, subject. Now, take a look at a few examples. Now, the first example is very important here because you will be able to convert normal assertive sentences. But what about question wala sentences? What will you do there? Now, once you get the structure correctly, this is a very simple thing. Take a look at the active sentence. How does one pronounce his name? In this sentence, can you tell me what the subject is? The subject is one. The word one here refers to people in general. So when you ask the question, how does one pronounce his name? You ask कि लोग सारे लोग उसका नाम कैसे प्रोनाउंस करेंगे So the subject here is one, the action here is pronouns, and the object here is his name. What is how? How is to be excluded here. For all interrogative sentences, you must exclude the how, the which, the what, whatever the case may be. Now, when you're converting into passive, remember what we had to do. We had to switch. The previous object was his name. His name should come first. How remains the same. How is his name. Action, since the meaning has to remain the same, is pronounced, followed by uh, one. That is to the subject. However, in the passive sentence on the right hand side, we have not written one. The reason is because that is already implicitly within the meaning of the sentence. So, how is his name pronounced by everyone is something that you don't need to mention. You don't need to mention by everyone. It is understood. How is his name pronounced is in itself enough. And that is why you might be confused by the transformation of one from the left hand side and how it doesn't show up on the right hand side in the passive sentence. Pause this recording for a second and take a brief look at the examples quickly. Please pay attention to the bottom two examples. I insisted on them paying me. I insisted on being paid. This is a gerund. The second sentence, post the letter at once. Let the letter be posted at once. This is an imperative sentence. Another example of imperative sentence would be shut the door. This is an active sentence. How do you convert it to passive? Let the door be shut. So for imperative sentences, always take a hint in the back of your mind that it begins with let. Let the door be shut, or let the letter be posted at once, and so on. Yeah. A few more examples for you to look at. Where did you buy this pen from? From where was this pen bought by you? And another example that you should take a good look at is example number 2. One should respect one's elders. Now, this might tip you off because they uses the word one. The word one here refers to all the people around you generally. One should respect one's elders. इस सेंटेंस का मतलब होता है कि सब लोगों को अपने elders की respect करनी चाहिए. So when you convert it, elders should be respected. This sentence, the passive sentence, is also something that is for everyone around you. Elders should be respected is something that applies to everyone around you. So just because the word one does not show up in the passive version of the sentence doesn't mean the meaning has changed. Please take a good note of that. You may pause the recording at any point of time and take a look at the examples and the questions. All right, I will have to stop there.